Hey guys, Kush here with Exerscribe TV, and today I want to talk to you about intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting seems to be all the buzz lately that I decided it was time to discuss it. So what exactly is intermittent fasting? Well, intermittent fasting is typically performed one of two ways. The first way is to fast for 24 to 48 hours straight, one time per week. The second way is to fast for 16 hours straight, and then feast for 8 hours. And this is actually what I do every day. Essentially, you stop eating at 8 p.m., and then you eat again at 12 p.m. the next day until 8 p.m. You may be familiar with this type of fast from the Bulletproof Coffee stuff that you've heard about. With Dave Asprey's Bulletproof Coffee, you drink a blend of his high-quality coffee with grass-fed butter and MCT oil when you wake up, and you continue drinking cups of this as desired until about 12 or 2 p.m. The concept behind this is that you're suppressing a mechanism known as mTOR, which is an anabolic mechanism, which means muscle building and protein synthesizing. And by suppressing it for an extended period, it actually bounces back so that when you begin your feast period, it spikes your metabolism and muscle building potential. The reason that bulletproof fasting can be more effective than traditional intermittent fasting is really for two reasons. One, the coffee further suppresses mTOR, which means a better spike later. And two, you're biohacking your metabolism with the butter and MCT oil because your body doesn't essentially need to break down these medium chain fatty acids the same way it would with other macronutrients. So it's basically tricked into thinking that you're still fasting during that period. And I actually prefer this method because it's much more practical and reasonable to tolerate fasting by actually consuming some type of calories and energy rather than none. Plus, I love coffee. The studies done on intermittent fasting are pretty promising. They've not only shown increases fat metabolism, but they've also shown increases in growth hormone by hundreds of percent and decreases in C-reactive proteins, the proteins responsible for inflammation, especially inflammation from autoimmune diseases. If you're going to try this type of fast, there are a few things you have to be cautious of. Number one, don't overdo the fasting period. If you feel lightheaded or extremely hungry, gradually progress the fast each day. Number two, make sure not to overdo the bulletproof coffee. It's easy to get carried away and have tons of butter and MCT oil. I typically only use about 1 tablespoon of butter and 1 teaspoon of coconut oil per cup of coffee. And number three, be sure to plan ahead and balance your macronutrient intake with more fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins during your feast period, since you already had a hefty portion of fats. And lastly, it isn't advisable for women to intermittent fast because it can throw your hormones and menstrual cycles out of whack and slow down your metabolism. And this makes sense because women tend to be much more sensitive to negative energy balances. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week on Exerscribe TV. See you soon.